Hello, fellow anime fans. It would seem that the fall 2017 season is finally upon us. And while I'm kinda still working stuff together for finishing videos on summer 2017, I figured I'd go ahead and start talking about the shows that are starting for this season. The first show that really caught my eye when I was looking into this season was Juni Taisen Zodiac War, which seems to be another one of your run-of-the-mill battle royale anime, although with a twist of all of the characters being based on the different animals of the zodiac. From the first episode, we follow the perspective of the boar of the zodiac signs, and we basically learn her backstory throughout the episode and why she's here. And the one thing I noticed very quickly was that this was not going to be our main character. There was basically no way that the show was going to follow her perspective entirely because she was kind of irredeemable from the start. There comes a point where you're following a show and there's no way that a character can be redeemed anymore. And whenever you reach that point, you have two options. You either have to redeem them, which would be extremely forced, or you have to make every single other character worse than that character. And even before we got to know any of the other characters, I could tell that there was no way that they could make all of the other 11 contestants worse than her, because she's not... Okay, I was going to say she's not evil, but she kind of was. I'm sure that there are some worse characters, the bunny guy was probably worse, who honestly was probably the best part of the first episode, but I'll get to that. But she's it goes into how she was made to be a killing machine and kind of a really bad person. And the episode, I felt, had to end with either her death or it would swap character perspectives every episode to give you the backstories and just why every character is here and what happens to them throughout the series. I won't say what happens to her at the moment in case anyone hasn't watched it yet, but I feel that my assumption was fairly correct on her not being the main character, I'll say that much. Out of the other characters, most of them seem fairly interesting. All of them follow the motif of whatever the zodiac sign is, some of which are more obvious than others, as she points out as she enters the room. I think that if we get a main character, which given the type of battle royale series this is, it might not have a main character. That would be fairly interesting if it doesn't. But if we have a main character, I think it's going to be the rat. But at the moment, it could be a few people. It could also be the ox. It could also be the monkey. But I'm leaning towards the rat. And is it just me, or did we never see the dragon? There was a scene where it flashes every single person inside the room. And aside from one which is kind of MIA for the series, for anyone who hasn't watched it yet, I don't exactly want to say what happened to them. But the other 12, or the other 11 contestants are still missing one. Only 10 people flash on screen. And I think the dragon is probably going to be special. It's the dragon, why wouldn't it be? But I figure it has good odds of showing up and being a big character later on. That aside, everyone looks really interesting. And I'm hoping that not every character is evil. I was really surprised when the monkey brought up, hey, so how about I just throw this out there, why don't we wish for all of us back to life when this ends? And then the boar in her thoughts was that's really stupid, who would agree with that? And I was actually agreeing with her when she was saying that, because this battle royale looked voluntary, and you don't join a voluntary battle royale for a wish. By the way, the reward is a wish, I think I forgot to mention that. But you don't join a battle royale voluntarily for a wish with the intention of bringing back your contestants back to life. And then half of the room raises their hand to agree with her. And I'm not sure why. Unless I'm wrong on this being entirely voluntary. I noticed after the episode when I thought about it that each of them seems to be a part of a different family, and if it's mandatory that each family sends a person to fight in this, then it's not entirely voluntary. It's like partially voluntary in that you kind of choose which of your family members go, but I understand that your main motive is to get out of there alive and not the wish in that case. So I'm hoping we get an answer to that. That's really the only thing that really bothered me in that first episode, but I could kind of see them ignoring it depending on how good the writing is. I've heard that the writer is really big. Apparently the person who also wrote the Monogatari series, which I'll be honest, I actually haven't seen that series, but I've heard that it's really good. So hopefully this is also really good. But usually these type of battle royale anime don't really have the most in terms of interesting story, and are more supposed to be dark and grim and bloody, which, like, even though we didn't get a lot of fighting in the present in the first episode, we definitely still got that in the boys' flashbacks. So, all that aside, I'd say that what probably stood out the most this episode would be the rabbit. Aside from his outfit, which kind of stands out even among everyone else's, he was just kind of really entertaining in his comebacks for just people talking to him. Like, just with him lying to everyone repeatedly and, like, extremely obvious lies. Like, I'll ignore the first one because it's kind of a spoiler, but whenever the one monkey was like, hey, so why don't we join a pacifist group? And like I said, half of the room raised their hand. Well, like, it showed 3 people raise their hand, and he's obviously a psycho killer. Like, extremely obviously. And then he raises his hand too, and after he does that, like, everyone else puts down their hand because they're like, yeah, we aren't teaming with that guy because that guy's just gonna try and kill us anyways. And, like, he was kind of the only comedy of the first episode, but I'm not sure if that's going to keep up because he looks like he's going to be a fairly dark character. So I'm not sure if I'm going to really like him moving forward, but he kind of made the first episode a good amount. That aside, a lot of this will kind of have to flesh itself out moving forward. As I said before, I'm fairly certain the boy isn't the main character, which means we'll find out a lot more of this series in the next episode or two about, like, its perspective and how it plans on carrying out its story and all that. So I'm looking forward to it. Once again, it's battle royale anime, so, like, I'm not sure how good the story is going to be, but it has an interesting premise so far, and I hope that it doesn't go downhill. And that's really it. So I hope you have a good day, and peace.